And it's time for round 3. So this is the final round of CC today. We've got 6 more rounds of draft following afterwards. We do have, you probably saw a little bit of standings, a few little standings on your screen right before we came back to us. So we're seeing some pretty exciting heroes in the top 8. I see a Kansu, I see a Briar. We might even have that Briar on the table very shortly.
Absolutely. And we're seeing, Alex Chitu leading the way with that Briar. We've got George Jones, we've got some Lexi, we've got some Katsu, we've got some Bravo as well as up there. Also, rather excitingly, Matthew Sarrington, position 11, 2 wins on a Kano.
We did see Kano take down a Nationals, which is crazy, which is great to see. But we are going to be treating you now to a Briar versus Dromai. And we're going to get some cards to watch for Briar. But this one, we'll see what the cards to watch are, because Briar's been doing some strange stuff recently. I think this is pretty. I think this is still happening, right? We got a Channel Heroic classic card, +3 damage to all of your attacks. Sean, have you ever come up against the Channel Heroic? How do you feel when you see the channel go, the mountain go down, right?
You know, I think I might have actually blocked out every instance in which I have seen a Channel Mount Heroic played against me. So I actually don't recall it. It's rather traumatic.
And Rosetta Thorn, guys, we know it's good. It's so good that it's gone now. The Briar did actually make Living Legend recently. Rosetta Thorn, this might be the last time you even see Rosetta Thorn on a live stream near you. Will we ever see it again? Maybe if we do a Living Legends format, which now exists.
Praise be. And
a new card here, Anthem of Spring, came out in Dust Till Dawn. Really efficient card for blocking, and that's something that Briar's been doing recently, doing a bit of blocker. But we're gonna have a little. We're gonna move over now because the opponent of this Briar is Dromai. Dromai, they like to make dragons.
She likes to make dragons. Absolutely. Now that I'm actually gonna start with the center here. Rake the Embers. Absolute classic. Dromai wants to be managing her Ash as an additional resource, really. So she being able to create an Ash token and then transform those Ash into Aether Ash Wings is really efficient.
Yeah, and also just the fact there's a red card, so Dromai's ability allows Dromai's weapon means if you play a red card, you give all your dragons go again. So you want to have red cards in the deck to enable your dragons to all attack at the same time. But not to we've also got 2 cards here that kind of Chromai, that gives you an action point, that kind of lets you play around like dragons popping, because your dragons do have Phantasm, they can be blocked by 6 power attacks. But we also have Passing Mirage, which is something similar, but for illusionist attack. So whether we see the which kind of Dromai we see today, there's a more controlling version that tries to build a lot of dragons, tries to make an unbeatable board, but then there's also very aggressive Dromai, like Empress Dromai, that tries to just overpower the opponent. We're going to see what they're going to try and play up against Briar. Briar will be going first. We're going to the matchup very soon. So Alex Chitu, very talented player of the game, very big Runeblade player. Believe that Alex got to the top 8 of a Battle Hardened. I can't remember the name of the Battle Hardened off the top. We did interview him on Push the Point, but he was playing Viscerai. It was in Italy. And also did really well at the calling. Didn't make the top 8, but I think was one of the highest. Well, made day 2 was one of the highest placing
on
Briar players at that tournament.
And we should say, really, Alex actually isn't really known for his Briar play. He's
more for Viscerai.
Very much well known for his Viscerai, but he did bring Briar to the calling, and like we say, he did very, very well. He's
another player of the game that plays very well, and we have Joel here. Joel actually was also at the top tables of Calling Birmingham. I believe lost to George Rogers in the final round of Swiss. There's a very amusing gif of Joel holding his head in his hands as he played an Oasis Respite into a Shuko trigger. So glad that you can't live that one down, Joel. It exists forever on the internet, but is also still wearing his patented yellow bucket hat.
Absolutely.
You can always see him coming. That's the thing to remember about Joel, because he's wearing a big orange hat.
I mean, I'm just pleased that experience, and the fact that it will live infinitely on the internet.
We've all done it.
It's not stopped.
I've not
on the stream.
I've not done it, but we've all done it.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've done it.
So Dromai, we often talk about Dromai's got it can be a kind of hero where you're sort of thinking to yourself, what on earth is going on? Lots of dragons being made, it's a strange way of playing the game. Flesh and Blood, traditionally a hero versus hero game, not many permanents on the board, but Dramai and in the past Prism, and still is the case, Prism, do change that up. They like to create entities on the board that they use to attack.
Yeah, Gary in the chat, absolutely. I think we may all be,
I've lost Alex.
We've all experienced
me a fair number of times. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
He plays
left
very
me in his
clean,
wake.
and I think we've seen a more controlling version of Briar that seeks to block out the opponent just through access to its very good blocking cards. I've always found that Alex generally plays. He doesn't seem to change with the meta. He's played Viserai when Viserai wasn't the best hero, but was still getting top 8 placements. Played Briar at the calling when not many people were saying Briar was very good. And I think we'll see something similar here with Alex playing a more traditional version of Briar, because that's what he plays best. He gets his lines down. Oh, Shamir's in the chat. Lovely to see you here, Shamir. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you, Shamir.
Always a pleasure to see Shamir in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for this third game of CC. And this is going to be a really interesting one, putting yourself in a really good position, going 3-0 into the draft. A lot of people say, or maybe you want to lose a game. I think we mentioned this earlier, like maybe you want to lose a game and have an easier draft. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think there really is an easier draft.
How do you call yourself a champion?
It's tough. There's a lot of good players playing here. You can't just be like, I'll be fine.
Yeah. So we see Alex here has just created a
That's
rune
interesting.
chant. And
So
I think we saw Joel Arsenal.
Joel may be not
singular?
able to create an Ash, because
What
he
does that
just
indicate?
moves to Arsenal and can't play a card out. But he does have a Nourishing Emptiness in hand now, so we'll have something he can play on the next turn and create a couple of Ash. So I think that Alex will probably not fall for the trap of just being like, oh, Joel can't play. We've seen crazy games against Jeremiah where people have just passed until they've done set up some board. But I don't think that's going to happen here.
I mean, we can see in hand we've got Alex has a
So I should
Promise of Plenty as well as a Scar for a Scar as well.
Yeah, as Kiki said, you play with the best in your country. There's no free wins at this level, especially we're talking like, UK has one of the biggest scenes in Flesh and Blood, biggest scene in Europe now, I think. There are no easy games anymore. Every game is hard. And we should explain. I should explain so what we saw there from the Drummer is that they just Arsenal a card and then drew one. So because Drumai requires an Ash to be made, and they make Ash by pitching reds, if they don't have any way of pitching a card on turn 1, or they only have dragons, they actually are bricked. There's nothing they can do. So all Joel was able to do on their turn was Arsenal one card and then draw. So we are going to see pitch to Arcane, which is going to save Joel here, allow him to create an Ash, which is good. He did also have a Nourishing Emptiness in hand, so would have been able to play that with 2 reds anyway to create 2 Ash with that. So he is now cooking with gas, so to speak. He is cooking with Ash, so to speak.
Cooking with Ash.
Yes, Bob did believe that Joel did a little bricker there, but it seems to be on the field now. But that did allow Alex a lot of breathing space for this turn, allowed him to play with a rune chant and a card in Arsenal this turn.
So we see Joel utilize that sink blow from Arsenal. And Alex just using a Scar for a Scar. I mean, he's on a higher life total, so he's not going to get that go again. So maybe less than ideal.
Less than ideal. I think also Alex sort of pitched. I think we may have missed this while we were chatting, but Alex pitched a blue to Grasp of the Arknight. So it costed 3 because he already had a rune charm. Does choose to commit the snaps very early. Wants to make something happen on this turn with his 5-card hand.
So coming in with
very kind of Joel there to remind Alex of his embodiment. Doesn't necessarily need to do that, but that's just the way you should play. Or maybe Joel has a plan for that embodiment popping.
It's pure mind games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets one, right?
Yeah. There's a free one, and the rest cost you.
It's an interesting choice here to play the Lightning Surge.
Going in for 4.
Obviously, he could get that Lightning Surge into Arsenal, then it would get go again on the next turn, but he does have a Promise of Plenty, which he also wants to play from the Arsenal, which allows him to put the top card of his deck in his Arsenal if it hits, I believe. Haven't seen Promise of Plenty in a long time. Big fan of the card, though. Loving seeing cards like Reinforced the Line, Promise of Plenty, Crucible of War cards. It just shows the strength of the game when we continue to see cards from Arcane, Crucible of War being played in the deck.
It's not just that these cards are good, you know, from sets. Nearly, I mean, 2 years ago now, 2-3 years ago now. But these are, you know, Promise of Plenty is not a card that's in an awful lot of play, but still players are resorting back to older sets to look for efficiency and utilization. So it's fascinating to see the game just sort of progress over time as players utilize cards that are in the binder for years.
The other thing, of course, is that Promise of Plenty, when there are dragons on the field, does mean that you can guarantee the on-hit.
Spicy.
I say that not having seen Promise of Plenty in a while. I assume it's an on-hit rather than a hero hit. Maybe we can get Promise of Plenty up on the screen. I could confirm that. I'm really doing a looking back into the Mind Palace on that one. Hits here is...
It's a hero.
No. It's
hits.
Just hits each hero.
Just hits.
So if Joel does develop the Arsenal here, that is basically just going to be a draw.
Yeah, thank you, Shmir. So not allowed to miss the.
It's just good. Irrespective of the, it's just good gamemanship to point that stuff out.
You're not allowed. So Alex here utilizing again Crown of Providence early to filter his hand.
Alex using his equipment. Yeah, trying to get a bad hand here. Does get hold of CNC, which is going to be good because Joel has developed the Arsenal. It's a little bit risky if he plays the Promise of Plenty out and then he's going to play the Promise of Plenty into the Dragon, so he doesn't have to worry about Joel potentially playing a defense rate from Arsenal, freeing the Arsenal so that he gets the card from Promise of Plenty. Should be safe there. He's going to decide what he wants to do.
Yeah, and Alex here as well, just playing very purposefully. That's how I always see Alex whenever we have him on the Push the Point stream at our local events down in London as well. Always very purposeful. He's planning your demise.
He's got the space here to play out the Earthfall Surge, which is great. Can be difficult sometimes to get the resources to play that one out. Leaves himself with one resource at the end, maybe for Rosetta Thorn. Having to think about what he wants to do. The thing is, if he does buff this, and then it's, you know, we'll allow it to go into the Miragi if he chooses, or I might choose to target
Earthfall Surge into that Promise of Plenty.
Having a little think.
He's also setting himself up for the Rosetta here as well. That one resource floating.
8 damage.
Ah, very helpful. Lovely damage dice coming in there.
Is that a red Earthfall Surge? I didn't even see that. I thought it was a blue. But,
yeah, it's red.
Wow, that's a big chunky
5.
attack. Yeah, I don't want to throw that into a dragon.
Yeah. Send that one to face.
See, Joel is running the sand covers, but does he really want to give up his last ash to get that sand cover out?
And to burn them all as well.
Joel's also got a Warmongers in hand, but it looks like Alex might put on enough pressure here that
I can see another
not
Promise of Plenty in Alex's hand.
Yeah, but it's not going to have go.
Just how many has he got?
It's not going to have go again though, because it only gets go again if it's played from the Arsenal. Yeah. But he might just develop that for next turn.
You can also see we've got a Command and Conquer in Alex's hand as well,
which is a great follow up. Even if Joel played the Defense React out and then put a card in Arsenal, if Joel had a Defense React, if he played it out, then put a card in Arsenal, Alex can follow up with a CNC. It's kind of guaranteeing that he's getting this +1 from Promise, and Joel isn't getting a +1 from Promise. So that's a really good combination of those two cards together.
So we see here Joel blocking
5, maybe the sand
Skullcap.
cover at the top. Yeah, I'm going to shut that down. And he used his last ash though to do that, and he's Yeah, I don't know why I put the Ash on the defending with the Ash there, but so that first attack has been shut down. But the thing is that Alex can now follow up with a. It's a little bit awkward. I guess he comes in with a Rosetta, doesn't want to pitch a card for the CNC, would rather just develop another Promise of Plenty.
Well, I guess by not pitching for the CNC, it means that he can Arsenal the Promise of Plenty.
Yep.
Ready for the next round. But he left himself open in this round.
And it's not the worst thing in the world to keep a 6-power card in hand when you're playing against Dromai, because you can pop their cards. Though of course Miragi does remove Phantasm from the first dragon, so that is a little bit awkward. But I think Alex is probably going to want to play this CNC, to be honest with you, rather than pop something with it, because he can attack into dragons with his Promise of Plenties to guarantee the on hit. He does have a pretty awkward hand because a Warmongers is about to go down. So Joel is thinking about it. He might choose to Arsenal it.
So Joel also on Alex's turn there. Here we go. So Joel there on Alex's turn was able to pitch a red to the Oasis Respite, which created the Ash, which sets him up quite nicely.
Reset his Ash back. So this is it looks pretty bad for Alex because he does have 3 non-attacks, but he can still do Promise of Plenty into CNC here. So I don't think he's too... It looks worse than it is because he's got that attack action in Arsenal. He's still able to develop something pretty big, but he doesn't really want to hit off the Promise of Plenty anymore because he's going to want to Arsenal one of those non-attacks. He might choose to make a Rune Chant as well. Might have the cards to do that. He could start with the Promise of Plenty, then make a Rune Chant, then swing with the CNC. But he doesn't have a card in Arsenal, so the CNC is a little bit awkward, but I think he just wants to push damage at this point. Keep pushing, keep getting Joel's light totals down. It was a good timed diplomacy, to be fair. Not even going to play the Promise here. Just going to play out the CNC.
CNC when Joel doesn't have an Arsenal, it's... What's he going to do? Is he...
Then he's just going to keep... Oh, he's going to attack the dragon.
To hit the dragon. Okay.
So Joel's bought himself a lot of space with that diplomacy turn.
That's the strength of diplomacy.
Yeah. Yeah, Shimmer pointing out can't make a chant because of war. Wow. I kind of like the not playing the Promise of Plenty out there, just because there's no Arsenal. Just kill the dragon, move to the next turn. It is going to give Joel space to develop some stuff. Make a dragon, do a little heal here, and develop maybe the Arsenal again. He's seen a CNC play, probably feels a bit more confident sticking something in there, but that is also going to mean that the Promise of Plenty is going to not give a draw to Joel unless he's Arsenal the defense react. But then of course if you block with the defense react you don't draw anyway, so I don't know why I keep saying that, but
Trip, I'd just like to maybe touch on Joel's equipment here. So like Skullcap is not a card that we often see in many heroes anymore, particularly since the prevalence of, or the release as well, of Crown of Providence. Why would Joel be utilizing Skullcap, but not just the Skullcap, but also those Mage Master boots?
So the Skullcap's there because firstly, it does mean you can, in a pinch, shut down Rosetta Thorn because you have AB3 to prevent the 2 arcane. So not only does he have the Norrune gloves to prevent instances of 1 arcane, he also has Skullcap to prevent the 2 arcane with the Norrune 3. Also, I think I personally value the 1 block and the 2 block of Skullcap over just the 2 block of the Crown of Providence against Briar, just because it allows you to shut down more on hits. Every attack with Briar is sort of technically an on hit with the embodiment of Earth. So you kind of want to play around that, but also things like snatches, things like CNCs, you're able to shut down that a lot more. Oh, we do see the mountain.
Here we go.
So Alex must have got was that mountain off the top of the Promise of Plenty there? I can't see why you would do that, otherwise you would play the mountain out first, surely, into the Promise of Plenty. So good hit off the Promise of Plenty, being able to develop the mountain, and now coming in with a big chunk of change here with the E-Strike. Going to choose to draw a card. It's still going to come in with 8 with the Channel Mount Heroic.
I don't know if you caught that there, Trip, but Alex played the E-Strike, and I think just look, typically Alex plays eyes down at the table, very focused, but I think he assessed his opponent there for to see the response. This is a nice turn from Alex.
Really transformed the game that one turn, because actually Alex was sitting pretty good on 40 health, wasn't taking a single point of damage. Alex had a bit of an off turn with the Warmonger's Diplomacy that let Joel develop a dragon, but now the dragon is gone, and now we're coming in with a big with the Enlightened Strike here.
Joel takes the 8.
Oh, and finish this with a Scar for a Scar.
He's just gonna...
Why not? Push another 7 damage. Okay, so Briar's doing Briar things, everybody.
Yep.
Turns out, pretty good turn. He didn't even get the +3 on the Promise of Plenty here. Got the go again from the 2 non-attacks into the E-Strike for draw a card, then into a Scar for 7. Has pushed 15, 23 damage this turn. Pretty nice.
And whilst we're hearing rumblings,
nice.
Whilst we're hearing rumblings of a rather defensive Briar build seeing success, Alex reminding us that aggro also works.
You asked that as well, Sean, which is like, why play the Mage Master Boots? And maybe Joel thought, well, maybe if this Briar is playing a more defensive Briar build, Mage Master Boots allows you to play out the Pulsing Mirage, which is an aura that takes away Phantasm from your first Illusionist attack, which doesn't have Go Again, but with Mage Master Boots you can play it out with Go Again. There may be a couple of other cards in the deck that Joel runs, like sometimes they run Tome of Finder, which is obviously always a classically very good card with Mage Master Boots too. So a few options. Yes, as Aiden points out, the Promise of Plenty was a true promise. Did not lie. That was a very plentiful turn, and Mountain is still up on the field. Joel did manage to keep 2 cards. It really depends what Alex draws into here. If he gets some gas, he could, delete Joel from the game.
I mean, he kept 2 cards, but at what cost?
And Alex has drawn into a no attack hand. He does, however, have a Gorganian Tome and a Sonata, so can fetch attacks.
No, he's also got the this round's on me, so he can draw a card off of that. So
but how's he going to play it? It's got a 1 cost. He'd have to pitch the Bramble, I think. It's got an interesting decision to make here. It's probably gonna have to let this hit. Could choose to block with one of his non-attacks and his equipment setup.
So it's just the Nourishing for 6, just 6. No,
he's got Dominate. Oh, he's got a CNC in us.
Yeah, he's got a CNC.
Well, gotta take that, right? Every day of the week.
We'll take it. Alex decided.
So this is you can see Alex having a little smile here because he knows that a lot is gonna depend on the cards that he draws. He's got some real blind draws coming up.
Here we go. But this is what can happen to Briar.
He might choose to.
Okay,
he's going to draw first.
Let's just draw and see what we get.
Gets a CNC.
That's the attack.
Okay, so he's got something now.
Okay, everyone calm down.
Now he needs to decide if he wants to go up to a +1 on the Sonata or whether he just Sonatas for 3. He could choose to maybe go up to reveal 4 cards with the potential of getting 2. Would need to pitch the blue to do that though.
Yeah, sorry Bob if you're experiencing stream issues. See, that's it's just part and parcel, sadly, of doing these on-site streams. Is sometimes you're not always able to
So we get
guarantee.
an attack, and non-attack, and a non-attack. So it is going to be able to take the Scar. Scar's gonna have Go Again because of the embodiment of lightning. So that is really saving Alex. Got some good hits from those cards. He got a CNC from the Gorganian Tome, and he's got the Scar for Scar. So he can now, I think he kept the This Round's on Me, so he can use that to pay for the CNC. I think he also kept a non-attack, but he might choose to develop that in the arsenal.
Matt McCherry in the chat.
I think he's okay, Shamir, because the early snaps was an interesting one, but I think at the moment all he's got is the Scar and the CNC, so he is going to be able to push some damage here with the Channel Mount Heroic up, 9 off the CNC and 7 off the Scar. I can't remember what the last non-attack is. He's not going to be able to fuse the Bramble, so he's probably just going to get the Bramble in the arsenal.
Yeah, this round's on me.
I guess Shamir, you're right, he could play the Rosetta off the spare resource if he still had snaps. No, but he could have gone CNC into Scar, snaps, Rosetta, but I think he's okay. I think he's happy with this.
Scar for 7. Still, Alex is pushing damage.
I think Joel just needs to block this out as well as he can, but he's going to get really hit by the CNC here. It's going to cost him. He's not going to fully block this. He is going to lose his mountain, of course. He's not pitched 2 earth cards this turn, but he's made really good use out of it, and he is developing a decent non-attack in the arsenal as well. Just talking about the embodiment of Earth Mist, and we're pointing out that it is now, I believe it is now, according to Shamir, level 1 judge, I'm going to say, Shamir. Level 2 judge, maybe. No embodiment of Earth can't be missed anymore, so it should be put on the field.
Oh, I think we're just going to have a little moment here just to confirm.
So it's looking like it's going Alex's way, but Joel, it looks like Joel's running a relatively defensive Drumeye build. So once the mountain goes down, it will be a case of Alex's damage output will lower, but he's always got the opportunity of drawing into some more, being able to push more damage. He has used his snaps, but he's still got he's got his grasp and his dyadic up, being able to block.
So
it's looking good for Alex, though. That's just the power of getting a channel at the right time, which he did off that Promise of Plenty.
Yeah.
Promise of Plenty really doing. So we're just having a chat with the judge here about whether the embodiment of Earth should be made. It's not going to have a major... Well, I say it's not going to have a major impact on the game because I don't think Joel's going to do much on his follow-up turn, but they just want to make sure it's all right. Correctly identified that it is still made. Just because of the new rules about missed triggers, which I quite like. And then we see the CNC come down for 9 as we expected. So Joel can't really block this out. I guess he could give up all of his equipment to keep his arsenal. He does technically have 9 block, but that would be a big commit. Might just block this for 6 and lose the arsenal here.
Thank you, Jason, there for the judge call. Thank you to all of our judges.
Oh, I think it might be an Oasis Respite in the arsenal. Got a quick look of it there. If it is, he will be able to shut this down quite nicely, actually.
Block with a Chromite.
And there goes the Oasis.
Okay.
That's going to prevent 7. He's going to heal for 1, so he's basically taking 1.
Take 1. And he's used up his arsenal, so there's nothing to remove. And
it's good because now Joel can... I didn't quite catch what the last card in hand was. I think it was a dragon, but he could either just get that into the arsenal, or if it's a 0-cost dragon, he could play out this turn.
Yeah, and if it is indeed a dragon, he's set up nicely with that Ash to be able to...
I think it's a Necria, so I think that's costed, so he's probably not going to be able to play it, and he's going to think about whether he actually wants to put this in the arsenal. He might choose... Yeah, he does. He gets it in.
Arsenal and pass.
Looks like Alex has another all non-attack hand, but he has got a Tome of Harvest, so he is going to be able to fix that fact. It looks like an all non-attack hand from my reading. Yep, so he's just going to... Fortunately, he's got the Tome and the blue, so he's able to fix that problem. Come on, Alex, you got to draw into some attacks at some point.
Well,
there we go. Something.
There we go.
He's played one...
Snatch. That's what I can see. Autumn's Touch as well, I think. Along those lines.
Should be able to play another non-attack here to give the Snatch go again. Just thinking about what one he wants to do. He can actually fuse this Force of Nature as well. So might choose to play the Force of Nature out, fuse it, try and get some draws on the go. might even have the resources here to actually first play the Autumn's Touch with the draw from Force of Nature, and then try and get the block on that, and then follow it with the Snatch to try and develop the Arsenal. Might also be able to make a Rune Chant this turn as well.
What's he going for?
He'll start with the
absolutely.
Force.
Force of Nature. Is it +1 if it hits draw a card?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then any card this turn that hits if it's
pumped.
If it's pumped, it will draw. It's just whether he decides to, whether he starts up with the Autumn's Touch or whether I think I would play the Autumn's Touch out first just to try and bait a block. I think that's what Alex is going to do too. But then he might not have the resources to. He's having a thing because you pitch the blue here, place a Snatch, but then where does the card go that he draws? Maybe he'll make a Rune Chant.
I mean, he's trying to bait his opponent out.
I guess this just gives him more. If they let this hit and there's a draw, it will give Alex more.
Potentially, Remembrance in hand as well.
Yeah, it looks like Joel really teched for a more defensive buyer, but it doesn't look like that's what he's come up into. We see a dice appear from the abyss there. Thank you very much. Six damage coming through.
Thank you, Baz.
Yeah, looking a bit.
Again, lovely venue here, live from Leeds Armories. Did you know, Trip, there's over 4,500 objects on display here at the Armories?
The Royal Armoury Museum. I did know that, Sean, because you told me before the stream started, and I said, great fact, Sean, about the Royal Armouries Museum.
Just in case you weren't listening the first time, that was all.
It's kind of a bit of it's an interesting one, this particular turn. Like, I think Joel's kind of sitting back now a bit, gonna try and just block out a bit. He's not been able to build a board, so he's kind of waiting for Alex to maybe have a bit of a brick. But Alex has already managed to play through 2 or non-attack hands. The first time with Gorganian Tome, Sonata being able to fetch the attack. This time had the Tome of Harvest to play around that. She's played through a lot of his non-attacks now. He's probably always going to be able to get some attacking cards out to the field.
And we can see that as well in the life totals. We've got 34 plays 21. Alex is, he's sitting quite comfortably here.
And Alex just having the resources there to, rather than play the Snatch when he knows he's going to have a card, he's going to draw a card, it's not going to matter because he's already going to have a card in hand. Choosing to make a Rune Chant with Rosetta, better use of cards, get the Snatch into Arsenal. He's also got a kind of nice hand here. He's going to be able to fuse this Bramble Spark and
Azvali coming in for 2, poking an arcane damage. Joel saying, you're not the only one who can present arcane damage in the arena.
But I think at this point, Alex, he's got a good life lead, but that it can get out of hand. Even these little dragons, you think, oh, what good is that going to do? But if Joel can keep creating these dragons, creating a bit of a board, it can get out of control quite easily. Though these smaller 0-cost dragons quite easy to kill off, maybe with like a Rosetta at the end of a chain. Because it's 3 health, so not Rosetta, but like just a dinky attack at the end can remove that.
Promise of Plenty.
Yeah, Promise would be a great target into that dragon.
Which is what we were saying at the very start of this game. Those Promise of Plenties can hit those dragons.
So we're going to see the Bramble Spot fused. I think Alex is going to have to pitch to make a Rune Chant here, otherwise it's a bit. Oh no, he's got the Ravenous Rabble. It's fine, because he wants to make a aura to give the Swarming Gloom Veil go again. So the one arcane here is whether Joel will decide to prevent the one arcane could have an impact, but the Rabble itself is coming in for, I didn't quite catch.
4 plus the
3 from the Bramble, so 7. So he's got a really good chance of hitting, making sure that Swarming gets go again.
Lovely. Again, just lovely, clean play from Alex.
Yeah, someone in the chat saying, really, really clean play from Alex. He does play very nicely, gets his cards in the right order. Very seasoned Runeblade player. Just always looks like he's in control.
But it's the way he plays. He's he's like quietly sat at the table. He's just plotting the order in which he does things. He's a seasoned Runeblade player. So although we don't have a meta breakdown just yet, we do have.
I think we might get one.
Should have it soon.
Yeah, because we've got the standings, so we should have an understanding of the heroes. We'll try and get you a meta breakdown after this particular round.
But between the second round and the third round, we saw the standings so far. We saw an awful lot of there was a few Briars, there was a few Bravos as well floating to the top. But let's not forget, it's not all about CC today. We've got, following this, we've got 2 drafts.
Yep.
2 drafts of Monarch. So we'll be looking forward to that. But we do have a draft breakdown for you. We will present that after this game. Not only that, we also have Baz the Bard joining us, so please shout out to Baz. Check out his meta reports. He'll be providing a meta report from the day as well, so you can look forward to that.
So Joel decides to take this all, and that's an interesting line. It makes me feel like Joel maybe has something that he wants to do. I think Alex is going to be able to present, what is it, 1 rune chant, Rosetta 5, 3 off the swarming. It's actually going to be 4 off the swarming now with the rune chant. That is going to be another 8 damage. So Joel's going to need to do something. He did prevent the 1 arcane with the red. It's the thing about arcane against Drumai, because they run so many red cards, they can't sort of like, pitch a blue and get multiple value off different bits of arcane. Because Joel has got the skull cap up, right? It's live. The AB3 is live to prevent damage from Rosetta, but just doesn't have the blue cards to do it. And we actually do see here from Joel, he does have the Findel's library in hand. Tome. That's my channel.
You just plugged your own channel.
Tome of Findel. So that's another good use of the Mage Master boots. There also has what looks like a Down and Dirty, which is an interesting choice as well. It's a card you can use to block from the arsenal.
It's a card I'm very, very familiar with. I've been enjoying that in my own Reinhard decks recently.
Someone was asking, why is Briar not blocking? Yeah, I know. I was promised all control Briar this season of Nationals, and what we got Alex just doing what he does best, playing the hero the way it should be played, the old way, the honest way. He had a great run at the Calling, hoping to have another great run here at UK Nationals. Both of these players trying to go into the draft with 3-0 records.
And we see that he's setting himself up for a great draft. He's going in 3 wins under his belt, leading like a champion.
Well, he's not got it yet. They're not got it yet. I think we got to, Joel's still in this. He's got 10 health and a dream.
10 health, a dream. He's got a tome. He's got a book and some boots.
Drumai players can really lock games out. Like, they have good blocking hands. They've got often have lots of defense reactions, lots of heal in the deck. We see he's got a Tome of Finder in hand. If you're able to develop that into the arsenal, he's going to get a good heal off of that too. He's going to try and get back as much health as he can. He is looking at his hand here, thinking maybe I should have done more blocking on the first attack. Maybe it didn't really matter in the end, because it only, it would have been a really awkward block against the 7 of the Rabble to try and prevent the aura giving the swarming this +1 with the rune chant. So, he's going to take it.
20 minutes left on the round. And then a snatch. Natural form.
Snatch into the dragon, which is going to guarantee the draw. And Alex is just going to reset the arsenal. Very tidy plays.
Lovely.
It's like you said, Sean. It just when Alex is playing, it just feels like he's in control. He doesn't seem to hesitate. He's got the whole turn planned out.
It's all just very purposeful. Silent but deadly. Alex G2.
We didn't see what was in the card he drew from the top of the deck with Snatch there that he got in the arsenal, but
pitches
Oh, it's
a
a
red, so Ash replaces it.
Oh, we do know what card is on the top of the deck because it was revealed by the Ravenous Rabble. It's a red Earthlore Surge, so actually that's going to be a really strong clapback from Alex on this turn. And he does pop it. He has the pop. That is actually rough because Joel took a lot of life to develop that dragon, and Alex immediately popped it. Yeah,
He had an answer.
there's a big risk there, and he didn't even develop the Tome of Findel into the arsenal to at least go for a little bit of heal on the follow-up turn. He had to pitch it to play the dragon. Joel probably thinking, I've got to do something here. I'm running out of time. I've got to have a turn.
Yeah.
But Alex has got such a strong turn now with the red Earthlore Surge, and I think it was a snatch or something, maybe a scar for a scar, red 0 cost that he's going to be able to play out as his other attack.
So pitch to Runechant. Earthlore Surge, as you said, pitches an Earthlore Surge to a snap for 9 and
one arcane. Big turns here. Big
9
turns.
and a Runechant. 9 Runechant on hit. Draw a card. Alex.
So it's an interesting choice to make the rune chant there rather than play the second Earthfloor Surge. Did he have enough? No, he doesn't have enough resources for it. Ignore me. Yeah, he needs the 6 resource. No, because he played 2 for the. Did he already have the rune chant?
He pitched to the Runechant.
Yeah, 1 blue is not enough for Earthfloor Surge. 2 Earthfloor Surges. Correct. See, this is why Alex plays the game better than me because I can't do my math so good. But it does look like Joel does have some resources to shut this down. And I think Alex is incentivized to make as many rune chants as he can because he knows a rune chant is going to be really good to get through. It's going to cause essentially a block. Going to make Joel use one of his cards to just block 1 here.
And like, what did Alex do to get this turn? He just popped a dragon with a 6. Like,
yep.
So, tonight, just so strong.
And it's in it when you're putting the snatch through for 9, you're relatively confident. Okay, I'm probably going to, I'm hopefully going to get the draw here, so I can reset my arsenal.
Can I have a look? Joel says,
I think that might have been. I think that might have been the Fables. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Puts that at the bottom. Gonna sand cover here. Blood of the Drakai.
Ooh.
So it does actually shut that down very well. Leaves himself with 2 cards here. Alex still drawing really nice cards. Looks like a Rabble there. He's going to be able to go a little bit wide.
Lightning Surge, Rabble.
Alex probably okay with this. He's got the Rabble for go again, and he's got another big attack. So he is going to be able to develop a good turn here, even with the War.
I mean, even if this was a bad turn for him, right? He's still got 31 life. He's got a lot to play with.
Yeah, you're right, Sean. It's a really comfortable life lead for Alex, and he's in the driving seat. And that Warmongers was there's a Channel Heroic on the top of the deck, and that Warmongers is not going to have the effect that Joel was probably hoping for on this turn.
Joel will wince at the sight of a Channel Mount Heroic revealed on top of the deck. For a little while, I did think maybe Alex was just putting out a lot of threats right from the very start of the game. I thought maybe he's just going to plow through a lot of those threats. And Joel's going to be able to block them up, but it's just round after round,
running
Alex
quite a lot of attacks, and he's also going to be able to get this lightning surge into the arsenal, which is the 0 for 4 go again if it's played from the arsenal. So his next turn, with knowing there's a Channel Mount Heroic on the top of the deck, could be really explosive if he draws into a blue as well.
Rites of Replenishment. Is this a card that you think Alex has brought in particularly for this matchup?
This is a great card if you're thinking you're coming up against a controlling hero. If the Dromide decides to go full fatigue, you can use Rites to keep putting cards back in your deck. If you fuse it, you can bring an attack action card from the graveyard back to your deck. So you can actually keep bringing up other copies of Rites of Replenishment. So you fuse Rites, fetch another copy of Rites you've already played, and you just keep cycling the cards back through. So it's really good if the Dromide player was deciding to, I'm just going to try and essentially fatigue Alex out of the game. this one card almost prevents that. And of course, it's a 6, so you can pop dragons with it too.
Blocks for 3 as well.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, I used to really like this card in Earthbriar, and I think it's making a bit of a comeback. Of course, yeah, it's also a popper. Also, if you deal Arcane, you can fetch a non-attack, which is pretty sweet because you can bring your mountains back into the deck. It's quite hard to pull that one off. You kind of have to use like Bramble Spark or something to make it deal Arcane damage. Really, really nice card. I really like Rites of Replenishment. I kind of hope that card gets back into the game at some point. Oh, he's drawing a great hand.
Wince.
Oh, that's
Wince.
a really good one. And Joel seems to have left himself with a E-Strike, going to play out the Findels, not going to be able to give it a go again with the Mage Master Boot, so he's just going to heal 2, arsenal a card, and move on. But Alex has drawn a killer hand, going to be able to create the mountain, play out another non-attack. Oh, it's going to be brutal.
Eek. Joel able to regather a bit of health here. I mean, he played sigils. He's played 1 sigil, Joel, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, he's not really been able to get his life gain going, and it's reaching the point where the life gain might not be enough because he's going to have to deal with this huge mountain turn. So we see the mountain come down with an earth.
How big's the mountain? It's huge.
With an earth pitched, so that mountain will stick around for another turn. We see the lightning surge from the previous turn coming in for 7 with go again.
Alex just...
It's not going to be crazy because he doesn't have enough resources to play this rights that he has in hand, but he is going to be able to just finish with a Rosetta here. I mean, this is presenting lethal, so...
I'm presenting Rosetta. Always good. Always good. We were talking about this yesterday as well.
Yeah,
like,
Shamir, I agree. I would have liked Tunic in this matchup too. I guess the Dyadic is useful if they start to do something with Burn Them All, but Alex is making it work. Going to get this, I think it's a Nimblism, I think it is, into the arsenal to set up for the next turn with, and hopefully you'll draw an attack action.
I mean, Shamir, yeah, precisely. But Shamir, I know you said like Tunic would have done quite a lot here. Alex is still on 31 health.
I think that's exactly what Shamir's saying, though. I don't think he's going to block with this Dyadic anytime soon. He might just do it to justify his decision to run it.
We've got 12 minutes left on the round. Joel has a lot of work to do. Takes 2.
Is it actually a Nimble Strike? Crazy, crazy. It's going to be so good. Chat are better at it soon. I get my Nimblisms and my Nimble Strikes confused. Yeah, I think it is there for Caloria blocking. I still think Tunic's great. Looks like we will see another Azul developed here. Do a little bit of chip damage.
1 and 2.
I wonder if we'll see Alex just block this with the Dyadic just for why not? Nah.
Nah, you're good. I'll take it. I'm good.
Game's not over.
We've got 11 minutes.
Game's not over. Alex has got a pretty strong turn coming up. He's got the resources. He's got the non-attacks to turn on Rosetta, and he has a little bit of go again too. It's hard to see Joel being able to block this out, but he does have 3 block. Well, he does have 2 block left on his furnace. He won't be able to block it twice unless Alex breaks the chain.
Alex just checking the graveyard here.
Just because he's got a Sonata in hand, so he's just checking to see like potentially what he could hit.
Do you think he is also thinking about whether he can, how many more Channel Mount Heroics he's got, or is he?
He might be
not
just
really...
thinking about whether he wants to reveal 4 cards instead of 3. I think he's just taking it slowly because he is probably seeing the lethal line here, and he doesn't want to just come in slightly under. Just wants to finish this game off and move into the draft with a 3-0. It's hard to see Joel being able to block this out with a mountain up and so many cards in Alex's hand that can present a ton of damage. I think it would be good to play the Sonata out first, just to make sure the Furnace can't be used to block with twice if he does have to break the chain with Sonata at some point. Having a little think, just wants to get this right. Has a Force of Nature in hand, but I think he'll need to use that to pitch to play Rosetta at some point.
Few lines here, isn't there?
He's that's
why he's just needing this space, saying,
making a route.
How do I kill you?
Because he just wants to leave himself with one resource left at the... But then the Nimble Strike does cost 1, so... Would mean he's 1 resource... We'll see what happens.
Alex still
Here's a blue.
Really...
so actually it's only going to come in for 5.
Alex still remaining really, purposeful, thinking through his lines, just making sure he's not taking, the life totals. I guess too much of a given that he's got this game sealed. He's just still making sure. Still very purposeful.
He's got so Joel has a sigil in hand, so can sort of play around Rosetta and Runechant this turn. That might be what's going. That might be what's going through Alex's head, right? Is I don't want to play Rosetta this turn because I've got a mountain up, and he knows that Joel has ways of working around arcane damage through things like sigil. He's only seen 1 sigil this game. He's thinking it's going to have to come up at some point. So actually, maybe he's going to focus more on physical damage this turn, which is a little bit. He wants to play as many attacks as he can this turn. He's got a mountain up. He's probably not going to get another one up this game.
So just as a reminder, folks, we will be bringing you the meta breakdown after this game, brought to you by Baz the Bard.
Yeah, as saying, there's no Thorn this turn, just 5/8/7. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, you get so stuck into you. Oh, you want to play the Rosetta, but when you're just mountain up, it's not what you want to use your resources on. You want to maximize your resources, and the Runechant is almost better because 1 arcane. If they do have the sigil, like 1 arcane is as good as. Maybe 3, but
there's something about this old nimble strike, nimbleism. There's something about this art for me. Welcome to Wraith art. That just really, I don't know. It's almost nostalgic.
It's classic Sean, and it's having a incredibly. It's just such a good interaction with what Briar's trying to do. Wants to play the nimbleisms for the buff. Why not put the nimble strikes in? You got the resources to play them. Coming in here, it's another card with Go Again. Coming in for 8 here with a mountain. Joel got a sigil, 2 blocking cards. Might be a defense reaction in the arsenal. I believe it is. But he's on 3 health.
So there's nothing left, but he's got a sinking arsenal, hasn't he? 6 minutes left on the round. Alex just trying to work around it to figure out how he finishes this game. Oh, he's still got 1 card in hand, sorry. Joel?
And here we go. E-strike coming down.
E-strike
big damage. 8. It's going to be more than that.
Oh,
he strikes for 10. Why draw a card when you can just come in for 10 damage? He doesn't. We don't even have the dice to represent the amount of damage that Alex is doing right now to Joel. He's got 2 cards. He's got a sigil. He's on 1 health. He's having to think, can I live?
Alex is just absolutely...
He can heal up to 4.
Put out immense damage.
He needs to prevent 7. He doesn't. He can't do that. That's got to be game.
Sigil up to 4. Then I'm going to block for 10.
What's with 4?
Sink.
Take 6. That's game.
GG's.
Great players. Amazing plays from Alex there, right, Sean?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, just as we were saying, all the way through, Alex was so comfortable in the driving seat all the way through. But why is that? Why has he been able to, I guess, like, dismantle, really? He was just comfortable.
It's just reps. Like, Alex has played so many reps of Briar and Viserai, Runeblade. He knows the lines. He practices the lines, and he plays it so cleanly. I think we saw that in that game and the previous game with George Zuri. These are players that are just, they are so well versed in the way they are playing the game, and it's just like watching a professional play the game. It's like a professional level. That's not to take anything away from the opponents they played against. Dromai was doing a little bit, was getting into the game. But the mountain, being able to get the mountain off the Promise of Plenty when Alex had the blue Earth card still in hand, was fronting up with the Promise of Plenty, and it was just the perfect card to get off the top into the arsenal and to play out on that turn. It turned what was looking like a pretty normal turn into a massive turn. Just being able to push so much damage through, and then being able to develop a second mountain to close out the game. Because sometimes, Dromai can actually start to slow the game down a bit, block out. When Briar was just coming in for 4s, and even with Rosetta, he had the skull cap to actually work around Rosetta a bit, the sigils to work around Rosetta, but getting the second mountain down just made sure that he was able to get over the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And like typically when you play against Briar, you're kind of hoping that she's going to have that off turn, right? But every time we saw Alex's hand, he'd draw 5 non-attacks, but he would still be able to, Gorganian Tome rescued him once. He was still able to draw cards with Tome of Harvest. He was still able to pull those attacks from his deck and present just insane damage. He was playing the Earthfall Surges, like, pumping for 5s, like just over and over, coming in with those massive attacks, and Dromai was just not able to deal with.
I think that was the thing that probably that Alex was thinking. Dromai's not gonna necessarily put on crazy pressure. I'm gonna have space to play these Earthfall Surges out, because you got a good number of blues. Like the Earthfall Surges work great with Rosetta, but they also work great with the other cards that we're seeing in play, like the Nimble Strike that people were pointing out in the chat.
Yeah.
It all just adds up really nicely, and
Absolutely.
it was really well played. And I think that Briar deck is, we kind of think, oh, it's the new hotness, right? This like control Briar, like the stuff that deck can do with Chanamat Heroic, and like sensible, careful players, like just not going crazy, like blocking well, using your embodiment of Earths to block well when you have to, like not so much against Dromai, but like against other heroes. And when played really, really well, it is a really, really good deck.
Absolutely. And well, I mean, that's a wrap now on our 3 rounds of CC for the day.
But we will be coming straight back with draft, and we will actually be having a meta report coming in from Baz. I may be joining in for that. We're not. We're still working that bit out. Yeah. But we will be giving you some more content. But I think just to talk about the 3 games we saw today, I think what we saw was I said this after the first game, but we saw the hero of last year's UK Nationals, Phi, really suffer in both of those games against. Not so much the heroes, not like against Lexi, sure, yeah. I think Lexi is kind of like the hero to beat today. But we're also seeing like reps coming in from Briar. We saw Alex Chitu doing insanely good on Briar. We saw that George doing really good on Azuri. We saw 2 really fantastic players of the game. It really speaks to the quality of what we have in the UK. And we don't want to, blur and trumpet, like there's quality all over the scene right now. The level at which this game is being played is really fantastic to see. But some really talented players, maybe not the most well-known players, players that we know are really good, and we're really happy to be able to share to you guys at home, being able to watch some fantastic plays from some fantastic players. But we're going to go over now to an interview with Alex. Hear it from the guy himself. You can ask him questions. I don't know if Baz takes questions from the chat, but he'll be here to chat about it. Tell you about how do you draw Chanamat Heroic off the top with Promise of Plenty. Alex is going to reveal all in the interview coming up to you right now.
Exclusive. And stick around. We've obviously got we've got 2 rounds of draft this afternoon, so 6 games in total of draft. And remember, all players today will be able to make day 2 when we return as well again tomorrow for another 3 rounds of CC. Yeah,
there's no cut to day 2 anymore. Anyone can play it if they want to. You can gun for that top 24 players. Top 24 players do take home cash money, actual cash money from this tournament. But obviously a lot of, you're going to be wanting to be gunning for that top 8, getting that PTI, getting that gold foil legendary, 1 of 40 of each gold foil legendary. Come on, that's crazy. That's crazy. So we're gonna. We got the prize money up here, man. Look at that, US dollars. That's what you want right now.
USD.
Get a lot of bang for your buck. Those gold foil legendaries, man, are going to be worth way more than prize money. So Yeah, well, it's not a PTI anymore, is it? It's a Worlds qualifying invite. So that's been fantastic. I can see Alex Chitty walking to the table right now. So we're gonna cut away for a second while they set up, and we're gonna see you in a bit.
See you soon. Thank you.
Welcome back to the UK Nationals at Leeds Royal Armory. I'm Baz the Bard. Winner, Alex Chitty. Oh my
Thank you
God,
very
that
much.
was good. Unusual for Briar. We've seen like Cheerios Briar. We've seen now with Charles Dunn, this sort of like fatigue Briar. You've got kind of like a tall version. It's a little bit in the middle, isn't it? Sort of like nimble strikes, rights of replenishment. It's like, okay, I've never seen that one before, but you know, have you been working on this one, or is this?
I've been working on this list probably for a couple months. I started working on it in preparation for Birmingham.
Yeah.
Me and my team, the London High Rollers, we had the Briar list that we're working on. It was based off a list that Shamir started, and then we sort of iterated that over months, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's in the middle. It's really closer to the aggressive variant, right? But there are some choices in there that you might think are fatigue style, but I would say the rights of replenishment aren't really there in most matchups. I'm just putting it into Dromai. You saw it now because it's a popper, right? I'm mostly concerned about it into Bravo because one of my teammates absolutely destroyed me on fatigue Bravo. So since then I was like, okay, I have to bring this in. But in my previous matches, I have to say Charles Dunn is my best friend because all of my opponents, I flip Briar, and they're asking themselves which Briar is it, right?
Yeah, totally.
All of my I got the round one bye, really lucky, but my second round opponent is Alexi, Sharif, really good player. And from the start of the game, he starts asking like, oh, is it? Are you gonna, because he put me first, are you gonna start with Channel Mal Heroic or something like? Am I even playing Channel Mal Heroic, right? And he ended up playing Trench to try to hedge into if I was Fatigue Briar, right? And that gave me a little bit of EV into that matchup because normally Alexi, if they know that you're a normal Briar, they might want to play Tunic, right? And same here with the Dromai player. They had something like Remembrance, for example, in their deck. So just the fact that your opponent doesn't know what to sideboard helps, even though you're not playing the fatigue variant.
Yeah, sure. Do you have the Reaping Blade in your deck at all?
Not at all.
It's not like when you present your deck. Oh, I've got Reaping Blade on the front.
What is this card?
Shamir says go team. So Shamir, he's not here today, unfortunately. Amazing player, Shamir. So we know you're probably the best Viserai player in the UK.
Oh, thank you.
Like, you are, beyond doubt. I mean, the amount of sort of like top 8s, top 4s finals you made with Viserai. Where do you feel Viserai sits now? Because Briar's going at the internationals.
Yeah.
You know, this is a swan song. You know, everybody knew that she was going to be going soon. Everybody hedged their bets. It would be at nationals.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at post nationals? Are you looking at Vincent or are you looking at Viserai? Because things are going to change.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not looking good. At least with the cards that are in right now, that we have available. I've tried Viserai a lot into this meta. I've tried Vincent a lot into this meta. Into very good players, they don't quite get there because they have certain vulnerabilities that very good players can really exploit, right?
Yeah.
Viserai in this meta is really vulnerable to Warmongers, right? Whereas Brian, not as much. I mean, you saw the Warmongers play there.
Yeah, I mean, you're still playing quite a lot of non-attack actions.
Yeah, that go again by themselves. Don't need necessarily a non-attack to get going.
Right. Okay.
And then Vincent, her vulnerability is that she's quite fatigable. It's very difficult to both have a strong, aggressive stance and at the same time be able to play around fatigue if the opponent knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So really, I'm hoping that after Briar is gone, that they unban Duskblade for Viserai, because we have Warmongers now, right? So it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's counterplay. It's not a card that cannot be played around anymore, right? So hopefully, but if not, honestly, I might have to look at other heroes because unless there's new cards, but we'll see in the next meta.
Yeah, I mean, Bright Lights.
Yeah,
doesn't,
probably
doesn't
not.
really seem like there's going to
Mechanologist.
be many, Runeblade cards.
Or maybe I'll play the new Runeblade, the Teklevosen.
Mech Runeblade.
Teklevosen.
So good to see you here. Well done. You are probably still seat number 1 after that performance.
That's nerve-wracking. I'm gonna be in the best pod, so we'll see how it goes.
We'll see with the standing soon where you're sitting. But yeah, pod 1 for the draft.
Yeah,
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be really good. Were
gonna be a
you
stack
around
pod.
with Monarch draft to begin with?
I wasn't, so I had to get a lot of practice in this draft format. Me and my teammates got just farmed the online because there's resources online where you can like
Fab draft.
where you can sort of practice, which is really good, particularly for me because in my general region where I am, there's not many drafts. People don't really like draft that much, so.
Where'd you play? Rule Zero or Bad Moon? Which ones you did go to?
Well, actually, I used to go more to Brighton.
Oh right, okay. I thought you were London local.
Well, I'm in between London and Brighton. Right?
Okay,
I'm
right.
closer to Gatwick, so it's
Bit
like
difficult.
it's hard, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I can't really make armories that much anymore, but yeah, shout out to the Brighton folk as well. They're really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, we see you at all the events like skirmishes, ProQuest. I mean, that's where you're getting your XP, and then basically you're staying on sort of like the reps through online play.
Yeah.
Nice. It's doing you well. It's doing
Thank
you
you,
really
thank
well.
you,
Well done. Right. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to be back in 5 minutes. People are going to be getting ready to sit down and start drafting some first edition Monarch.
Oh,
May
exciting.
your pulls be good pulls.
Thank you.
See you soon.